Hey there, YouTube family. This is the Stocks with Josh show. Say hi in the comments and hit the like for me. Today, I'm going to be doing a deep dive on NIO. We're going to be looking at the fundamental story. We're going to be looking at how Tesla news and China news has affected the stock. We're going to be looking at the charts, going through the technicals, and at the end, I'm going to give you guys my conclusions. The bottom line is that NIO is down 86% so far since January 11th of 2021. This is a stock that thinks it's a crypto. What's going on here? The June lows were $11.61, and that was very painful for a lot of people. A lot of people thought they would never get back there, and on Monday, September 15th, it had risen back up to $22.74. It gave everybody a sense of hope, but it turned out to just be hopium because 2 weeks later, the stock dropped 60% to a new low of $8.38. All right, we're going to break it down, the fundamentals, the technicals. We're going to find out whether NIO is a buy or sell, whether we should be loading up on the put options, what we should do. But before we begin, this episode is brought to you by the MooMoo investing app. If you guys want to get 15 free stock on a free-to-trade, no commission cost mobile, iPad, or desktop app, then sign up. All you got to do is put $100 on the platform. It's free to use. You get 16 hours of trading, free level 2 data, plus you get to join the Stocks with Josh community page as well as our group chat. All 15 free stocks have a potential value of up to $2,000 each. The pot is $30K. Check the link in the description of the video and join us. I'm going to shoot you guys straight. The fundamentals on NIO right now are a little scary. The current PE is a negative 14. A negative PE means that the company has negative earnings or is basically losing money. At the end of 2019, the PE was negative 2.51. NIO increased its losses by 214% since 2019. The PE ratio compared to Tesla's PE of 63 is a difference of being 550% lower. That is a massive gap. If we do a market cap year-over-year comparison, we see that NIO really took off from 2018 to 2020. From that period of time, it went from a $6 billion value to a $76 billion market value. It has fallen so much since then. In 2021, it dropped initially 33%, and then in 2022, we got an additional 67% drop in market value. And then we have the earnings. If we were to compare NIO's earnings to Tesla, we have an approximate negative 1,200% difference between Tesla and NIO. The PS ratio, that's the price to sales. That basically shows you how much investors are willing to pay per dollar of sales for a given stock. Now, in the case of NIO, a low ratio basically may indicate that a stock is undervalued. This is a small area where NIO is showing a little bit of a positive, perhaps. It is currently at 2.676. If you guys were to compare that to Nikola, it's actually a 3,000% difference. So you could say that NIO is significantly undervalued compared to Nikola. Really, the fundamentals don't tell us anything that we don't already know. Basically, the stock price has crashed. Losses in that same time frame have significantly ramped up, and the stock at this moment may be undervalued compared to some other EVs, not Tesla. So the bearish reality is that the trend fundamentally is in decline. And that gives us a point I want to make. There is a big danger in trading a story. A lot of people have traded the EV story, the Tesla story, and they think that that's just could be an umbrella for all of these other companies without really doing their due diligence in the fundamentals or the technicals. In many cases, there was massive signs in the charts saying that there was a point of no return, that NIO was beginning to cross over, but it was being ignored. I would say it's kind of like the visual of floating down the river in a canoe. You come across a sign that says danger, waterfall ahead, but you decide that the water seems calm enough and you're going to continue on because you're having fun. You think it's going to be a good journey. You get a little further along, the waters get choppy, and you get another sign that says up ahead, point of no return. But again, you decide to ignore it because you think you could handle it. And then you go a little further along. And then eventually you come to this incredible drop. And that's what we saw in NIO in the last 2 weeks. We saw an absolutely unrelenting, incredible drop. And at that point, you're at the bottom of the waterfall. Trading the story is sort of like taking that journey, but removing all of the warning signs. The warning signs are the charts. That's what you need to look at so you can navigate the environment that you're in. A lot of people have been in NIO for quite a while, and and have been ignoring the charts and have really suffered the consequences. In a moment, I'm going to get into the charts with you guys. If you've done that, let me know in the comments section right now if you have been floating down the river and you find yourself on the bottom of the waterfall. So why has this basically happened? What exactly is going on? What has caused NIO to have this fall? Well, we've got to take a look at what's going on in China right now. All of the Chinese stocks, not just NIO, have been dramatically affected by some of the political things that are going on there. In specific, President Xi won a third term. And the bottom line is that people view him as not being pro-business. He's not pro-business. He's also for government expansion. In addition to that, he actually appointed two democratically elected positions beneath him, the top 7 positions. He appointed his guys. And so there was a loss of democracy at that point. It has just positioned himself as really being 100% in control of the country right now. There is an additional fear that maybe China may invade Taiwan. And if that happened, then you're going to be dealing with government sanctions, which could dramatically affect holding any Chinese stock. In addition to all of that, we know that he's got a zero COVID policy where he has been locking the country down and preventing the economy from growing and preventing people from working, making money, and doing what they need to do. He has also been famous for cracking down on the private sector, especially technology and crypto companies. That's what we've seen for the last couple of years. When Bitcoin was flying high, it would always be a news story coming out of China, a crackdown that would cause Bitcoin to fall. Those are some of the many warning signs that we've gotten in the last couple of years. And in addition to that, on the day that President Xi extended his term, we actually got the news that Tesla was going to lower the price of their cars, their Model 3 and their Model Y, by as much as 9% in China. The news article read, electric car maker Tesla has cut starter prices for its Model 3 and Model Y cars by as much as 9% in China, reversing a trend of increases across the industry amid signs of softening demand in the world's largest vehicle market. So I've given some opinions on Tesla before, and just a week before that news article came out, I had said that if Tesla did any price cutting, that it would be perceived very badly by the market. It would be reversing the story. We want to see our tech companies increase the value of what they're offering and increase their prices. That's the way it runs. That's the way companies achieve even deeper profit margins. And now we don't want to see Tesla become a commodity, but when you start lowering your prices, that means that you are facing competition and becoming more of a commodity. I made the prediction that if Tesla did begin to cut their prices, they're testing it out over in the China market. It could come here to the States. And if they begin to cut their prices, they may be able to ramp up sales, but it's going to really undermine the growth story behind the value of the stock. So it was bad for Tesla. And in my opinion, it was bad for NIO because not only is NIO operating under the umbrella of Tesla's success, so the story has been damaged, but in addition to that, they're now competing more directly with Tesla as Tesla has cut their prices. So it was a double whammy for NIO. And that's one of the reasons why it was punished more than other Chinese companies on that day. All right, that brings us to the charts. So we're going to ask ourselves, what are the charts telling us? Is it telling us go, 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 buy, 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 or is it presenting us some new warning signs? We see that NIO has fallen off the first waterfall, and a lot of people think, well, great, I survived. Now I get to just enjoy the journey down the river. But what if there's another waterfall right around the corner? What if you've barely survived the first one, but the second one's going to come even harder at you? That's what we're going to figure out in the charts. So let's go over the basics. I'm going to give them to you simple. One thing I'm going to point out right off the bat, on the daily RSI, there is no divergence. There's no bullish divergence. It's flat. That means that the selling pressure has only been increasing. When you see the selling pressure come down at the same rate that the price comes down, that means that there may not be a reversal ahead. Now, if we take a step back and we look at the weekly RSI, in my opinion, it's even worse. If we go back to February of 2021, we simply see that that tells the entire story. On the RSI, when you are beneath the 50% mark, it means the bears are in control. And since February of 2021, if you simply looked at the RSI, you would have seen for yourself that the bears had complete control over NIO and have been dominating it ever since. We've not broken out, and it's still in the bears' hands. And so the question is, where do the bears want to take you? They want to take you lower. All right, now let's look at the price action. We are sitting on a historic support level, which was a $10 mark. That goes far back in the history of the stock. That had previously been resistance. It came back down. It broke through. We had that massive run up, and now we've come back and we've landed on it as well. I have one little concern. We didn't just come down to it and bounce. We actually came down to it and we've gone slightly beneath it. So we should be above $10, but right now we're beneath $10. So that's a caution. The bottom line is that the next support down is the $5.50 mark. That is the next support level down. Now, resistance above is at $13. So we came down to that $8 range. We popped back up to $10. It was a buy the day that it hit that $8 range, and I believe that we've popped up to 10. And if we get some support from these markets, we're going to probably end up and we're going to touch that $13 area, which is going to be resistance. Now, if the unexpected happened and we broke through that $13 range and we back tested it, then that would give us a bullish sign. But this is what we have to keep an eye out in the days ahead. Let's say that you're holding your position between $15 and $20, and this goes as high as $13. If it fails there and begins to work its way back down, you need to realize that when it gets back up to resistance, that $13 to $14 range may be the highest range that we see in NIO for a while, not until we get through the storm of recession ahead. So the message that I'm trying to give you is that the trade range right now is between $8.50 and $13. And I think it's very important that you accept that. If you're in up above, you need to understand that maybe in the future, it could one day get there. But right now, you're looking at a trade range between $8.50 and $13. And if we fail to break over that $13, $14 range, then we are looking at coming back and hitting that $5.50 range. One of the positives that I would give you is that we are currently in the oversold territory. So I actually believe that the current move up from $8.50 to $13 is more likely at the moment. I think that it's going to get a little bit of a reversal and we're going to continue to move up for the next couple days. Hey, one of the things you guys know that are my favorite thing to do is to look at the chart cycles. So let's just do that. If we look at the history of the stock, we see that there was an accumulation phase. We had a markup phase, we went through a distribution phase, and we're now in a decline phase. We are pointing down in decline, which means that we have not gotten to a place of reaccumulation. Reaccumulation has not begun. And let me remind you who the reaccumulators are. The reaccumulators are typically the smart money. And so what you need to know at the moment is that the smart money is not in this. Retail right now is the one holding the bag, and retail are the ones right now dollar cost averaging into this without a clear understanding of where it may possibly go. Hey, I hope you guys do not feel beat up by these fundamentals or technicals that I'm giving you. I've been asked by so many people in the comment section to do a deep dive on NIO and to give my objective view. I don't own NIO. I'm not currently invested in NIO, but I think that does give me the opportunity to not be looking at it with what they call rose-colored glasses. I'm able to look at it objectively. I hope that you found benefit from my view. I'm not telling you guys to buy, sell, or hold the stock, but I'll leave you with this thought. If a geopolitical event occurred coming out of Asia, one of the first thoughts that I would have would be to flip open my phone and immediately buy some puts on NIO, because I believe even $500 on a put on NIO at $13 range could easily turn that into a $2,000, $3,000 bag. If that's one of the first thoughts that crossed my mind, then that tells you a little bit about my view of this stock. And the view is simple, that NIO currently is a vulnerable company in a country that is not pro-business, without positive cash flow, where a geopolitical event is not terribly unrealistic. And I'll leave you guys with this. If these technical and fundamental deep dives that I do might have saved you guys thousands of dollars, then hit the like, the subscribe, and the bell so that you guys can get timely NIO and EV market updates. Let me know in the comments if you guys agree or disagree with what I've said today. Tell me why. And go ahead and click the MooMoo link that's at the end of this video, and let's continue the conversation over there. Peace and blessings, my friends. Take care.